Um, Hi, welcome to this channel. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to tell you my story the way I remember it, exactly how I remember it. Everything that happened from point A to point B. I'm a little nervous, but I plead with you to bear with me. For the purposes of safety, I'm not going to reveal my real identity or where I actually come from, but I'm going to try to keep the locations of these events as real as possible. Unless if they reveal my current location, then I'll omit a few details, but for as long as they don't, the ones far back anyways, I'm going to just say them as they are. So I'm also going to omit the real identities of the people I'm going to be mentioning in this series. And this is your warning if you have some trauma that you haven't healed from, or if you are sensitive, then please do click off this video before it goes deep, because we are going to go deep. We're going to take a head dive. I would also like to mention that I have never received any form of therapy. I would love to, but I haven't. I don't even know if any type of therapy could help me with the problems that I've had to deal with or my trauma. But I'm just going to share my story. Hopefully someday I can print it out in a book, have the confidence to do that. But for now, I'm just going to record it in a series of episodes. And I advise you to watch or listen rather from episode 1 so that you can get the full story of what really happened, how it happened. So let's take a walk together. Dear Diary. And I could hear my sister screaming behind the door. That was the first time I was aware of what was happening in the house. To this day, she thinks that he didn't really put it in, and I also still tell her that, oh no, he didn't. It was just, he just tried, but it didn't go in. So yeah, that happened. I remember going out of the house because the door was locked. So I went outside the house and just waited out there. I didn't say anything to my parents. I didn't know what to say because I didn't know what I saw. I was just shocked that I even forgot it. I even forgot the memory. I just remember my other sister, the older ones, when they came home for the holidays, they caught him doing it again to my sister, and that's how they got to report him to my parents, and my parents gave him the beating of his life. And they called other uncles to tell them what happened. And because what he did was illegal, it was a crime, and he was an orphan, they just chose to give him the traditional punishment of severe beating as a group of grown people, and just banishment from the house to go back to the village. So that's what they did, and they also discovered that the older cousin also did the same to my older sisters, and he was also banished, but he ran away before he got whooped. So yeah, that happened, right? That memory is forever engraved in my subconscious, deep in my subconscious, because I forgot about it. I literally forgot about it. I only started remembering it as I was older, wondering why I have weird sensations when it comes to the idea of sex. I just wondered why, and every time I'd wonder why, I started remembering, oh yeah, this happened. Anyway, so yeah. Mm, Back to the house, right? So we eventually moved out of that house. We eventually moved to a better house, a different house, because my parents were like, this house is filled with too much horrible memories for all the children. So they chose to move after banishing the cousins, right? We moved to a different part of town. And in that different new part of town, I remember having two best friends. Ah, those are my best, closest friends. They were both male, and we loved the same things. We were literally neighbors and friends. To this day, I'm still friends with one of them, who was my closer one, my closer best friend. We used to play all games, and every time they would refuse to eat, their parents would call me to their house to say, "Hey, can you come and play with your friend? They're refusing to eat. Come and play with your friends." And I'd go there, and that's when they would eat. They would eat only if I was eating with them. For some weird reason, we just had this little code that, okay, you know what? No eating when the other one is not around. So that was like a daily thing. Except that sometimes, obviously, would get whoopings for refusing to eat, because what if the other one has traveled with their parents? So are you gonna stay days without eating just because your friend is not here? Anyway, it was just a ridiculous childhood thing, but in this new home, that's where I had the most beautiful memories, because I had friends, and those friends had cousins, and those cousins were my friends, and those cousins had older siblings, and those older siblings were friends to my sisters. So it was like a little nice community of just family friends. It was beautiful. Every time I think about what happened after I left that place, I always remember that. I would always think back to those days that I used to have the best time. I would always remember them and think of them whenever I was having the darkest days, and think, hey, I miss my friends. I wish I could go back. I was so desperate to connect to those happy memories afterwards that I made sure that I hunted for them down, like on social media afterwards. Anyway, I'm gonna get to that, and I'm gonna tell you everything. I'm not gonna hide a single bit. Anyway, so yeah, we used to play these games, these foot games, ball games, wool games. It was so nice. It was so nice. It was blissful. I enjoyed my life. I enjoyed going to school every day. I enjoyed it. Every day I would wake up ahead of time before the alarm went off, and I would wake up whoever it was who was supposed to help me bath and prepare to go to school, and tell them, hey, it's time, help me go and prepare. And I would walk out of that yard every day with so much confidence, with my little pack on my back, and my little polished shoes and white socks and little dress. I loved going to school because I had my friends who would go to school too. So whenever they come back from their schools and I'd come back from my school, we'd tell each other about how our days went and how everything was just so we'll just literally update each other what happened at school, who's new, who's doing what, who did what, how was sleep time. And we also liked climbing over walls. Yeah. We climbed over those walls and would walk on them, running around, playing in the sand castles. Would build sand castles, huge ones. Like my friend had this. His mom, brought like a huge forklift with so much sand that they just poured it at the back of the yard, like in a small little circle area, and they created that as a playground for him. And we used to play there every day, literally every single day. There was no day that I would miss. It was like a little secret community of a secret hideout and communications base. I don't know how to explain it. It was everything. uh, to be honest, I was kind of head over heels with my friend. That he was my everything. He was my best friend. he was literally everything of mine. Obviously, I started to fantasize about him later on when I left. But every time my parents or my sisters would look for me, where is she? Okay, I'm not gonna say my name exactly, because if I say my name and say their names, but yeah, I'll create aliases. I'll call myself Sydney, right? So they'll be like, "Where's Sydney? Where's Sydney? Sydney!" And the next reply that will come, they'll be shouting this in our yard, right? And the yard to my friend's house was like 1 yard away, like it was 1 yard in between. And this yard in between didn't have kids. Like the people who lived there always moved. It was either they move in, move out, move in, move out. There was always new people. So every time they'd scream out, there would be a reply from my friend's house that she's over here. Man. And my friend as well, he couldn't call me by my name exactly, so he created a little sync name. Maybe it was something like, where it was like, okay, how can I make a sync name of Sydney? See, Sydney. Oh my gosh. Okay, I can't. But there's a sync name that he would call me by, because he couldn't call me by my actual name. He couldn't spell it. I also couldn't call him by his actual name. I couldn't spell it either.